Part 1. The Pain of the Living Grief. There was a time when you spoke the same language. Now, there is an awkward silence at the dinner table. What if the growing distance between you and the ones you love is not a sign that your love is dying, but the proof that your soul is being born? If you feel the heartbreaking gap between your own inner world and the world of your closest relationships, you have found a place of deep and compassionate understanding. Your journey is not a betrayal. It is a becoming. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice, and let us illuminate the sacred geometry of diverging paths. Let's begin by naming one of the most secret and painful sorrows of the spiritual path: the pain of the living grief. This is not the grief of a physical death. It is the grief of watching a shared reality die, while the people you shared it with are still sitting right in front of you. It is the pain of self-editing. You are bursting with a new, profound insight, a new way of seeing the world, but you know, from painful experience, that to share it would be to invite a blank stare, a polite but dismissive smile, or a quick change of subject. And so, you swallow your truth. You offer a filtered, censored, and safe version of yourself, a version they can still recognize. And every time you do, it feels like a small betrayal of your own soul. It is the exhaustion of being the translator. You listen to their conversations, still centered on the dramas, the worries, the ambitions of the world you have begun to see through. And you try, with love, to translate your new wisdom back into their language. But the translation always falls short. Your words about presence and letting go sound like apathy and irresponsibility to them. Your joy in the simple and the quiet looks like a lack of ambition. And it is the profound and lonely ache of a shared history that is no longer a shared present. You have inside jokes, you have memories, you have a deep and abiding love. But you no longer have a shared lens through which you see the world. You are looking at the same movie, but you are seeing an entirely different story. This creates a deep and confusing sense of guilt. You feel like you are the one who is leaving them behind. You feel like you are abandoning them by choosing a path they cannot, or will not, walk with you. The love is still there, but the resonance is gone. And you are left in the heartbreaking silence between two worlds, grieving the loss of a connection that is still breathing right in front of you. Part 2. The Great Divergence. To heal this pain, we must reframe it. We must lift it out of the personal drama of who is right and who is wrong, and see it from a higher, more compassionate, geometric perspective. The growing gap between you and your loved ones is not a failure of love. It is the natural and inevitable result of the Great Divergence. Imagine that for most of your life, you and the people you love have been traveling together on a wide, comfortable, and well-paved road. This is the horizontal journey. It is the journey of human experience in the world. Its goals are to build a career, to raise a family, to achieve success, to navigate relationships, to manage the challenges of life. It is a necessary, beautiful, and valid path. And for a long time, it was your path too. But then, your awakening happened. And your soul called you to a new path. A path that most people never see, or are too afraid to take. You were called to the vertical journey. This is the journey inward and upward. It is the journey away from the world of doing and into the world of being. Its goal is not to achieve something in the world, but to remember who you are, beyond the world. It is the journey home to the source. And now you stand at the point of divergence, a crossroads in the geometry of the soul. They are continuing, with love and with purpose, down the horizontal road. And you, with an irresistible and sometimes terrifying pull, are beginning to walk the vertical path. The gap you feel between you is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you have answered your soul's call. You are now operating on different axes of reality. They are focused on the narrative of the personality, the story of the ego. This is the work of the horizontal path. You are becoming more and more interested in the silent awareness that is watching the story. This is the work of the vertical path. They are speaking the language of the mind, of plans, of problems, of past and future. You are learning the new, silent language of the heart, of presence, of energy, of the now. The lack of understanding between you is not a failure of communication. It is a fundamental difference in the direction of your travel. And to judge their horizontal journey from your new, vertical perspective would be a form of spiritual arrogance. And to judge your vertical journey by their horizontal standards is a form of self-abandonment. The only path to peace is to honor the profound, and sometimes heartbreaking, truth of this great divergence. Part 3. The somatics of the divergence. This divergence of paths is not just a beautiful theory. It is a felt, energetic reality in your body. To make peace with it, you must first learn to identify the two different frequencies as they live within you. Let's do a brief, somatic investigation. Take a moment to get still. And first, I want you to tune into the energy of your old self. The self that your friends and family still know, and still relate to. The self that walked the horizontal path with them. Remember what that felt like in your body. Remember the ambition, the social roles, the way you used to engage in the dramas and the stories. Feel the familiar energy of that persona. It is a known quantity. It has a specific weight, a specific texture. Just for a moment, feel that old, familiar identity. Now, with a conscious breath, let that go. And I want you to tune into the energy of the self you are now becoming. The one who is walking the vertical path. Feel its quality in your body. Feel the silence. Feel the spaciousness. Feel the deep, quiet presence that is your new center of gravity. Notice how it is lighter, less dense, less defined by a story. It is a different, energetic signature altogether. Now, feel the two simultaneously. Feel the old, familiar persona, and the new, spacious presence. And feel the gap between them. That gap. That is the divergence. It is not a flaw. It is not a wound. It is the measure of your journey. It is the energetic evidence of how far you have traveled. The pain you have been feeling is not the pain of the gap itself. It is the pain of judging the gap. It is the pain of believing that this gap shouldn't be there. It is the pain of trying to force your new, spacious self back into the old, tight container of your former personality in order to make others feel comfortable. The path to peace is to stop judging the gap. It is to honor it. To see it as a sacred space, a testament to your own becoming. When you are with your loved ones, you can learn to feel this gap not as a wall of separation, but as a field of loving presence. You are no longer trying to bridge the gap with words. You are simply holding the space for both of your worlds to coexist, in peace. Part 4. The creation of space. This process of creating a space between who you were and who you are becoming, even though it can feel painful in your relationships, is an essential and beautiful part of your soul's unfurling. You are not just separating from others. You are separating from an old version of yourself, and this separation is the prerequisite for all new growth. The great Sufi mystic and poet, Rumi, understood this process with a profound and tender wisdom. He knew that what often looks like a painful loss from one perspective is, from a higher perspective, a necessary and loving act of creation. He wrote, "Some changes look negative on the surface, but you will soon realize that space is being created in your life for something new to emerge." Let these words be a balm for your grieving heart. The space that is being created between you and your loved ones is not a void. It is a womb. It is the sacred empty space that your new, more authentic self needs in order to be born. A seed cannot grow if it is crowded in a box with 1,000 other seeds. It needs space in the soil. A butterfly cannot emerge if it remains forever fused with the chrysalis. It needs the space of the open air. Your soul, in its infinite wisdom, is now creating the space it needs to stretch its new wings. And sometimes, this means creating space in your oldest and most cherished relationships. This is not about blame. It is not that your loved ones are holding you back. They are simply, and unconsciously, resonating with the person you used to be. Their very presence, their expectations, their familiar way of seeing you, can act as an energetic anchor to your old identity. The universe, in its love for you, is now gently and sometimes painfully loosening those anchors. It is creating a space of not being understood, so that you can be free from the need for understanding. It is creating a space of not fitting in, so that you can be free to discover the shape of your own authentic being, without the pressure to conform to the old one. This is a profound act of grace. The pain you feel is the pain of the old connections stretching and sometimes breaking, to make room for the new. Your job is not to try and glue the old forms back together. Your job is to have the courage to stand in this new, open, and sometimes lonely space, and to trust that whatever is meant to grow here will be more true, and more beautiful, than anything you have had to leave behind. Part 5. The Parable of the Two Travelers and the Fork in the Road. To truly and compassionately understand this great divergence, let us tell a story. The Parable of the Two Travelers and the Fork in the Road. Imagine two friends who have been walking together since childhood. Their bond is deep and their journey has been a shared one. They have been walking on a wide, well-traveled, and relatively comfortable road that winds through the hills and valleys of the world. This is the horizontal path. They share the same language, the same jokes, the same understanding of the map. Their connection is easy and familiar. One day, as they are walking, one of the travelers begins to notice something that the other does not. Off to the side of the main road, almost hidden by the trees, is a small, steep, and rugged footpath. It does not seem to lead to any of the known destinations on their map. It simply goes up, straight up, into the heart of a silent, misty mountain. The first traveler feels an inexplicable, and almost frightening, pull toward this hidden path. His soul recognizes it as his own. The second traveler, however, feels no such pull. He looks at the steep, difficult path and sees only danger and pointlessness. His home, his heart, his entire world, is on the wide, comfortable road. And so they arrive at a moment of profound and heartbreaking truth. A fork in the road of the soul. They do not fight. They do not judge. Their love for each other has not diminished. But they are faced with an undeniable reality. They can no longer walk side by side. The first traveler knows, with every fiber of his being, that he must take the vertical path. To continue on the horizontal road would be a betrayal of his own soul's calling. The second traveler knows, with equal certainty, that his journey lies on the horizontal road. To force himself up the steep path would be a betrayal of his own nature. And so, they stop. They look at each other, with a love that is now tinged with a beautiful sadness. And they give each other a blessing. "I honor your path," says the first. "I honor yours," says the second. And then, one turns to continue down the familiar road, and the other turns to begin the lonely, unknown climb into the mountain. Their love remains, but their paths have diverged. You are the traveler who has been called to the mountain. Your friends and your family are the beloved companions who are destined to remain on the road. The distance you feel is not a failure of love. It is a testament to your courage to honor your own unique path, even when it means you must walk it alone. Part 6. The Vow of the Loving Observer. Do you recognize yourself in this traveler, standing at the fork in the road? Do you feel that bittersweet ache of loving someone whose path you can no longer walk? If this story brings a sense of compassion and clarity to your situation, I invite you to make this space your resting place on the path. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. This is a community for the solitary travelers, a place where we can rest and be reminded that even on a lonely path, we are not truly alone. And now, we must make a conscious choice. A choice to stop grieving the divergence and to start honoring it. A choice to shift from the pain of being misunderstood to the peace of being a loving, compassionate observer. This is a vow of unconditional love. Find your center. Feel the quiet, steep path of your own soul beneath your feet. And from this place of authenticity and strength, make this declaration. I now see and understand that my path and the path of my loved ones have diverged. I see that this is not a failure of love, but a sacred and natural geometry of the soul. I release all guilt, all blame, and all judgment. I release my loved ones from the impossible burden of having to understand me or my path. Their journey is not my journey, and that is okay. I honor their path, exactly as it is, without needing it to change. Now, let this vow become your new charter for your relationships. From this day forward, I make a vow to become a loving observer. My primary role is no longer to be understood, but to understand. It is no longer to seek resonance, but to offer love. I will stop trying to pull them onto my vertical path. I will stop trying to explain the view from my mountain to those who are walking in the valley. Instead, I will learn to meet them where they are. I will find the common ground of the human heart that we still share. I will practice a new kind of connection, not the connection of a shared mind, but the connection of a shared presence. I will learn to listen without needing to fix, to love without needing to be validated. My presence, my calm, my unconditional love, is the greatest gift I can offer them. Take a deep, conscious breath, and feel the profound shift. The frantic need to be seen and validated dissolves. The painful feeling of separation is replaced by a vast and compassionate peace. You are no longer the frustrated teacher, trying to explain an impossible concept. You are the quiet, loving, and powerful presence of the mountain itself, which offers its silent blessing to all the travelers on all the roads below, without ever needing them to understand its own solitary and magnificent existence. Part 7. Different languages, different identities. To fully embody the role of the loving observer, we must understand, on a deeper level, why your loved ones cannot understand you. It is not a lack of intelligence or a lack of love on their part. It is because you are, quite literally, beginning to speak a different language, because you are beginning to inhabit a different identity. The identity of your friends and family, those on the horizontal path, is, for the most part, invested in the persona, the mask, the wave, the story of me. Their reality is constructed from their thoughts, their memories, their achievements, their roles in the world. Their sense of self is built upon the foundation of their personal story. This is the natural state of the human ego. Your identity, however, is undergoing a profound shift. You are in the process of disidentifying from the persona, from the wave, and realizing that your true nature is the consciousness that is aware of the persona. The silent, spacious ocean. And these two identities speak completely different languages. The persona speaks the language of doing and having. Its conversations are about what happened in the past, what needs to happen in the future, what it has, what it wants. It is a language of form. The soul, the consciousness, speaks the language of being. Its conversation is the silence between words. It is the energy in the room. It is the quality of presence in the now. It is a language of the formless. You are trying to describe the silent, formless ocean to a wave that only knows the story of its own form. You are like an apple tree, trying to explain the experience of being an apple tree to one of its own roots, which only knows the dark, silent, and solid reality of the earth. The root is not wrong for not understanding the apple. It is simply in a different dimension of reality. To expect your loved ones to understand your new, formless, present-moment reality, while they are still fully invested in the reality of form and of time, is a recipe for frustration. It is like being angry at someone for not understanding a language you have never taught them. The great act of compassion is to accept this linguistic difference. It is to stop trying to have conversations that they are not equipped to have, and instead, to learn to love them in the language that both of you still understand, the universal, nonverbal language of the human heart. Part 8. Rituals for loving across the gap. To live this new vow of the loving observer requires a new set of relational tools. These are not tools for changing others, but tools for changing yourself. They are the rituals for learning how to love, unconditionally, across the Great Divergence. The first ritual is the blessing of the path. This is a private, meditative practice to release your loved ones from the burden of your own expectations. Sit in silence, and one by one, bring each of your cherished friends or family members to mind. See them in your mind's eye, walking their own, unique, horizontal path. And instead of feeling the pain of the separation, you will perform a simple, powerful, energetic act. You will, from your heart, send them a blessing for their journey. Not the journey you wish they were on, but the journey they are on. You can say, internally, I see you on your path. I honor your path, exactly as it is. I bless you with joy, with love, and with everything you need for your own unique journey. I release you from any need to understand mine. I love you, and I set you free. Do this for each person. This ritual is a profound act of letting go. It shifts you from a place of needing something from them, validation, to a place of offering something to them, a pure, unconditional blessing. The second ritual is to find the common ground of the heart. When you are with your loved ones, stop trying to connect through the mind, through spiritual concepts and deep, existential insights. That is a language they do not speak. Instead, make it your practice to connect through the heart. The heart speaks a universal language. It speaks the language of shared human experience. Do not talk about non-duality. Talk about your shared love for your child or your pet. Do not talk about the nature of consciousness. Talk about how much you enjoyed the meal you are sharing. Do not try to solve their dramas with your spiritual wisdom. Simply listen, with a full and open heart, offering the simple human gift of your compassionate presence. You are learning to meet them in the one place where your worlds still overlap, in the simple, beautiful, and profound reality of your shared humanity. This is not a compromise of your truth, it is the highest expression of it. It is bringing your awakened, loving presence to the most ordinary of moments. The third ritual is the silent transmission. This is your most powerful and your most subtle practice. When you are in the presence of your loved ones, your greatest gift to them is not in what you say. It is in the frequency you hold. Your practice, in the middle of a family dinner, or a conversation that feels superficial, is to simply and silently anchor yourself in your own, deep, vertical peace. Stop trying to participate on their level. Stop trying to convince them of anything. Your only job is to be the calm, silent, loving presence in the room. Be the lighthouse. Be the radio tower. Hold your frequency, without apology and without aggression. Your calm nervous system will have a regulating effect on theirs, whether they know it or not. Your quiet peace will be a silent invitation, a permission slip for them to feel a little more peace themselves. You are not giving them a lecture. You are giving them a transmission. This is the most profound and selfless way to love them. You are loving them not by trying to change them, but by being the change yourself. Part 9. The Higher Test. As you begin to practice these rituals, as you learn to love across the Great Divergence, you will come to realize that this entire situation is, in fact, a higher-level spiritual test. Your journey up to this point has been largely an internal one. It has been about finding your own center, about healing your own wounds, about discovering your own truth. It has been a journey about you. This phase, this painful experience of relational disconnection, is the beginning of the next, more advanced curriculum. The journey is no longer just about you. It is now about how you relate to the other. And specifically, how you relate to the other when they cannot, and do not, reflect your own truth back to you. It is easy to love the people who are on your same path, who speak your language, who validate your experience. That is a beautiful, but conditional, form of love. The higher test is this: can you love unconditionally? Can you love your family, even when they trigger your old patterns? Can you love your old friends, even when their conversations feel meaningless to you? Can you maintain your own, open, compassionate heart in the presence of those who are still deeply asleep? This is the great test of your own detachment and your own compassion. It is the final exam of your awakening. It is the universe asking you, you have found a beautiful peace in the silence of your own being. Now, can you hold on to that peace in the midst of a noisy, unconscious, and often painful world? To pass this test is to graduate into a new level of mastery. It is to embody the peace of the Bodhisattva, the one who chooses to remain engaged with the suffering world, not from a place of attachment, but from a place of infinite, unshakable, and unconditional love. Your relationships have not become a problem. They have become your most advanced and most important spiritual practice. Part 10. the great inversion of understanding. And so we arrive at the final, profound, and healing inversion of perception. You have been suffering because you have been operating under one core belief: my job is to make my loved ones understand me. You have been carrying the heavy and impossible burden of needing them to cross the bridge into your world. The epiphany, the great release that will heal your heart completely, is this: your true spiritual task is not to make them understand you. It is for you to finally and completely understand them, but from a new and infinitely more compassionate perspective. It is to look at your friends and your family, still lost in the dramas of the horizontal path, and to not feel frustration, but to feel a deep and tender empathy. It is to see their attachment to their persona, their fear of the unknown, their resistance to change, and to recognize it with a quiet, loving heart, because you remember that you, too, once walked that very same path. It is to understand that their inability to see your world is not a personal attack on you, but a reflection of their own journey, their own timing, their own sacred contract with life. When you make this shift, your entire inner world changes. Your frustration with them dissolves, and it is replaced by a profound compassion for them. Your need for them to be different vanishes, and it is replaced by a radical acceptance of them, exactly as they are. You are no longer the misunderstood child, begging for your family to see you. You have become the wise, loving, and spacious parent, who can hold their entire family in their heart, with all their beautiful imperfections, without needing them to be anything other than what they are. The gap between you is no longer a source of pain. It becomes a source of your own compassion. And in this, you find the deepest connection of all. The connection of a shared, unconditional, and universal love. The beauty of your journey is not measured by who walks with you, but by the love with which you honor all paths. If this journey has helped you to find peace with your own diverging path, then help us to share this compassionate message. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. Like and share this guidance. Every interaction you make helps another solitary traveler to feel less alone, and to transform their relational pain into a profound and unconditional love. Thank you for your courage to walk your own path. Now go and love your family, not by trying to change them, but by being the unchanging, loving presence in their lives.